Hello, everybody. Welcome. Double A Anthony Alford here with you. We are live, as you can see, at the Greenie Sports Cards convention. This place is unbelievable. We're here in Broadview Heights, just right off of Rollins Road, and got to come on down. In fact, do not let the Interstate 77 construction of Rollins Road stop you. Just come on down, check it out. We're here until 3 o'clock. The convention, and this place is packed. You want to talk about the best Cleveland sports cards. You want to talk about just sports in general. We got that covered. And wrestling cards. Got that as well. And I got to tell you, I was huge back in the day on Pokemon cards. I really was. Huge on those. In fact, I remember back in the day, I can't tell people, hey, you need to actually play outside, for recess and things like that. I can't do that because the way we spent recess at times was intense Pokemon card battles. And, I mean, they were battles, and we had those handled, and I usually won. I mean, but it's my show. I can brag about it. I'm Anthony Alford. My co-host Kyle Quidell is attending to a family matter. And it's probably a good thing because what was provided to me by Steve, who is running all this and doing a great job, he brought some wrestling cards, AEW wrestling cards, brought over to AEW. Of course, they got a big show coming up today. And I'm a little bit more open to AEW compared to Kyle. Kyle, look at this like, I'm not having any of this. He's like, I'm not doing anything with AEW. I'm like, dude, come on, give it a shot. Try it. Give it a shot and try it. But we'll open these cards up coming up in a little bit. I tried to open it before the show. And Pete, our producer here, he had a fun time laughing at me about opening these boxes. But we'll open up for you coming up. We got some good guests that we might be stopping by here on this show. But we cannot wait. If you're a sports fan, if you're just a fan, period, you just want something to do here, this is the place to be at Greenie Sports Cards. We cannot wait for that. But we're going to spend some time here today. I have my binder, but I didn't write down notes, so we're going to see how it all plays out. But we're going to spend some time talking about, Wrestlepalooza, which is today. Also, AEW All Out is today. So another Saturday where there's a ton of wrestling content to bring to you here today. And this is a big one. Of course, to start with the WWE side of things, this is the first show on ESPN, but not ESPN TV. It's the first one on the new ESPN app, the ESPN Unlimited. In fact, before coming into the show this morning, Adam Silver, the NBA commissioner, he has convinced me that sports and entertainment, all of this is a highlight show, right? So I caught highlights of SmackDown last night. I apologize for not doing my due diligence, but we had a football game last night that ran a little bit short, and had a good time after the football game. So I didn't get an opportunity to watch the full SmackDown. Hey, that's what happens is on Friday night. Sometimes I don't see it in full. But the crazy thing was, we're working this football game, and the owner of the Fairview Tavern, he's texting me during the game. He's like, dude, SmackDown's on fire last night. He was texting me about this. It was like, and I'm watching. I'm like, the first clip I saw during halftime of the game was Brock Lesnar F5ing Corey Graves. That was the first thing I saw, which was crazy. I thought Michael Cole was going to get that too, but that was the first thing I saw. But today is a huge day. If you guys remember, the WWE's deal with Peacock ended they found a loophole. It ended, it was supposed to end in 26, right before WrestleMania. And then ESPN stepped in and WWE stepped in and said, well, actually since we worked those 2-night WrestleManias, and then we did a 2-night SummerSlam. Let's add it up. That's night 2, and 37, 38, 39, 40. Then night 2 of SummerSlam. That's 5. Night 2 of WrestleMania this year. We reached 6 events. Actually, your deal is up. And ESPN stepped in and said, let's go. They stepped in. And it was like, we're ready to go. And it came together so fast because I have R-Truth explaining to me how to watch this show. Of all people, R-Truth is explaining to me how to order this show. And a lot of wrestling fans have to make a choice. As you know, or maybe you don't know, because maybe R-Truth had to explain it to you last night. The only way you can watch this show is through the ESPN app. It's the new ESPN app. But here's the catch. Here's the big catch. If you don't have cable at all, all you need to do is sign up through the ESPN app. You got to get their top package. It's the ESPN Unlimited package, and it's $30 a month. And to credit ESPN, owned by Disney, they're lumping in bundle packages. So if you get this package, I believe you can also get Hulu. You can also get Disney Plus. So from a family perspective, this is actually, to use the applause one more time, a good deal. Pete used all these effects today. I'm going to use them. Okay, we're going to get through this. We're going to use some of these effects. But here's the catch. I am a YouTube TV subscriber. As part of my cable package, I already have ESPN. I pay good money to watch ESPN and to watch other products and watch other networks. And that's the thing. I mean, that's cool, right? And in the past, with Peacock, all you had to do was pay an extra $10 a month. It's just its own separate thing, and you're in good shape. But in this case, the new ESPN app is telling you, even though you're paying for ESPN, the television channel, if you don't have these particular cable systems, you have to pay an additional $30 for ESPN Unlimited, the ESPN app. And that's a problem for a lot of people, including myself. Obviously, because what we do as a business, not just fandom, but what we do as a business, that's a concern, right? That's a huge concern. And all week, I'm like, in my budget, if I'm paying however much I pay for YouTube TV, and I think it's $80. I mean, I got a little deal with YouTube TV, so I'm in that promotional period. So for me, I'm only paying $50 during the promotional period, but soon it will become $80. And for many YouTube TV subscribers, it is $80 to pay. You're asking wrestling fans to pay an additional $30 because YouTube TV does not have a deal with ESPN and Disney for additional content. So because of that, there's a ton of wrestling fans that had to make a choice. Thank goodness for Kyle. Kyle was like, I'm going to drop YouTube TV. I'm going to just get ESPN. And he basically forced me, hey, you're coming to my place later on. You're going to watch this show today. I'm like, okay. All right. I'm like, cool. We'll watch it. We'll be in good shape. But that's the decision a lot of fans have to make. And, of course, talking about AEW, they counter program. They have a deal with HBO Max, but their discounted price is still $40. So, as you're seeing with a lot of sports programs, a lot of, every form of entertainment, everything, all prices, everything is up. Everything. And a lot of families, a lot of consumers, everyone has to make a choice about what they want to do. And to add on, And it's funny, we have these AEW cards here to add on. You have to, on top of what's going on with the streaming platforms, ticket prices are up on the WWE side of things. You know, earlier this year, I attended Monday Night Raw right after the Royal Rumble. That was here in Cleveland. I attended, and the price for one ticket, including fees and things like that, was just over $40. Just over $40. WWE came back to town in late July. It was right before SummerSlam. It was the Hulk Hogan tribute show. The same ticket, the same seats, the nosebleed seats, the same stuff with fees cost almost $80. Same year, 50% increase in ticket prices. So a lot of families, a lot of people having to make the decision about what they can do. So on top of the heavy-hitting, stuff that's going on, and again, we'll talk about the card during this broadcast. A lot of good wrestling coming up this weekend from both companies. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about Wrestlepalooza, how big of a deal the ESPN deal really is. And again, they pulled all the stops this week. You're seeing SportsCenter. You're seeing superstars on Get Up and First Take. Well, we got to break down also Stephen A. Smith's favorite wrestler list. Even Triple H looked at Stephen A. It's like, what the hell are you talking about? He had Bill Goldberg as the top, as his favorite wrestler. It was just crazy. It was just unbelievable. But that's Stephen A. for you. So we'll talk about that coming up on this show here with you this afternoon here from Greenie Sports Cards, the convention. It was cool. I mean, we were all here a year ago actually previewing WrestleMania. And just all the stuff that's available here is unbelievable. And it's very affordable just to come up here. Again, we're here at Broadview Heights, Greenie Sports Cards convention. When you get here, it's at a church, but it's like in the back building. So when you pull in, go all the way to the back, you'll see a full parking lot. You'll find some good spots. Walk to the back, come on in, say hello. Say hello to all the vendors that's here. They're all doing a great job handling business with stuff. All right, I want to start with this. And again, later in the show, I'm going to open this box. And later in the show, it might be a full segment when I open this box. But, I didn't even look at this. Hold up for a second. So, Julia Hart, she's really nice. Yeah, she's nice. And then you see a lot of great people again. The guy in the middle, that's Swerve Strickland, right there in the middle. A couple other great guys and girls that's a part of this as well. There's Odeka. Yeah, he has a big part of AEW. A lot of cool people part of AEW. And if you look around, too, a lot of good sports cards. Of course, Hulk Hogan. You can see some of his stuff here. Get the Pokemon cards. There's a couple of baseballs that's here that I want my hands on. I won't do anything. I'm not going to throw the baseball. I'm not going to do that. In fact, you can't do it because it's in a box. It's preserved. It's signed autographs. There's a lot of cool stuff in there. But here, you got to be on the lookout. Exclusive orange Dazzler cards, 12 cards per pack, 4 packs per box here at Greenie Sports Cards. All right, let's talk a little bit about Wrestlepalooza because that's the big show coming up here tonight, and we cannot wait. Of course, the main event for tonight's show, Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre. Of course, they finally had their face-off. To close out SmackDown last night. The opener, John Cena and Brock Lesnar. The Brock Lesnar rules. If Brock Lesnar's not main eventing a show, he is in the opener. He is flying home right after his match, In fact, he'll be watching the rest of Wrestlepalooza from his farm. So that's the big thing going on there. But I want to start with Cody and Drew McIntyre. You're starting to see a mix of utilizing social media during live action. If you watch NXT Homecoming, you saw Grayson Waller during his segment. He's actually live streaming on Instagram. I was actually watching because it actually showed on Instagram that he was on. I was actually watching his segment, Grayson Waller, with Ricky Saints and Obafemi. I'm watching the main broadcast on YouTube TV on the CW, and on my phone, I'm pulling it up. I'm like, oh, my goodness. The delay, I think it was only a minute-long delay. It was crazy. But Cody Rhodes told Drew McIntyre, hey, go ahead, tweet something. And Drew did. This will be interesting. First off, to see Cody Rhodes back on regular television, of course, with Cody. He went away. He was on paternity leave, just became a father. His second child was born. But the WWE Championship feud, that kind of simmered a little bit while Cody was on paternity leave. But that should be a great match. If that match closes the show, Wrestlepalooza, we're expecting a lot of big things from Wrestlepalooza. So if that match is closing, what is going to be the big turnout? What is going to be the big story that we're talking about? I love Dan Patrick, his show. They do a big thing in terms of what is going to be the featured headline on Monday morning when it comes to wrestling. And that might be the case, with this show. If Cody and Drew are main eventing this show, what is going to be the headline for this show? Who's going to come out? Why, and I'm putting pieces together, why all of a sudden Brock Lesnar, why does he want to talk with Paul Heyman? What is the connection there? And we'll talk a little bit about that because, Paul Heyman's been busy, of course, in the past with, Roman Reigns, and now with the Vision. It seems like with the Vision, it seems like it's kind of a business partnership, but there's no real loyalties towards anyone in the group except Seth and Becky. There's no real loyalties on that front. So there was a real partnership with Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. That's gone. So is this a case of, hey, Brock Lesnar wants that championship back? And again, ESPN wants big events. So what if I told you maybe Cena does beat Brock? Brock's going to demolish Cena, but people want to see the hits, play the hits. It's Cena's retirement tour. Cena beat Brock at the end. But what if the closing scene is Brock Lesnar F5ing Cody Rhodes? And that's your next feud. That's your next championship feud. And it's illustrated by Paul Heyman. I'm just trying to envision, picture, Brock Lesnar or Cody and Drew is main eventing this show. What's going to be the vision? No pun intended. And that could be the case. Putting those puzzle pieces together and making things happen. And, hey, once that goes, what do you do from that standpoint? But I want to know what you think again. We're with you for a little bit here this morning, live at Greenie Sports Cards. We're going to take a quick break and come back in just a moment. We got a lot to talk about, of course, the mixed tag. AJ Lee finally back at WWE. We'll talk a little bit about that. AJ Lee and CM Punk is going to face Becky, Lynch, and Seth Rollins. I will admit to you that if Becky and CM Punk, if they were the same sex, that could be feud of the year because you got two of the best talkers battling each and every single week. So we're going to talk about that when we come back. Also, A lot of other things coming up with Wrestlepalooza. We got a little bit of AEW. And when we come back, I will open this. You will watch probably the best thing you'll see all day. Double A opening a box. And listen, I struggled during the pre-show opening this. It may take 30 seconds. It may take 30 minutes. But I will open this when we come back. It's an AEW card collection. Again, my partner picked the show to miss. Again, he's attended to a family matter. But we got picks as well for Wrestlepalooza. Anywho, we'll take a quick break, come back. You'll watch me open a box when we come back right here on the Side Hustle Wrestling Podcast live from Greenie Sports Cards. Welcome back, everybody. We are live here at Greenies Sports Cards Convention, here with you. The convention will be here in full force until 3 o'clock here in Broadview Heights, Rollins Road, that exit. And, of course, 5025 East Mill Road here in Broadview Heights. That's where you could check out the show here on a Saturday morning. It's going to be the best day you do all weekend because the Browns play tomorrow. So if you want to at least have some fun, and Ohio State's off this week. So if you want to have some sports fun, come here. see some good action. We're going to preview a little bit of the show in just a bit. We got Pokemon cards here. We got wrestling cards here. We have sports cards across the board. Your favorites. I saw Bernie Kosar card back there across the board. So a lot of great things you could check out here at Greenie Sports Cards. And, of course, if you can't make it here, you can always check out their social media platforms for upcoming shows, upcoming conventions, all the latest things that's going on with Greenie's Sports Cards. You can check that out. We'll have the social media information for you in just a little bit. But Steve, who runs all this, does an unbelievable job. What a show, putting all this together. So many kids, so many families that's here checking things out of all ages. A lot of cool things you can check out here at Greenie's Sports Cards, including the wrestling cards. I got this AEW wrestling deck, and Pete was laughing at me during before the show because I was trying to open this, and I failed. So I'm going to open this right now. And like I said before, either it will take a few seconds, 3 minutes, or 3 hours. But it's going to be good stuff. You know what I was thinking? I was watching the Frank Caliendo skit. He does great impersonations. One of my favorites is the John Madden popcorn popper that he does. Oh, there we go. And seemingly everyone was able to operate the popcorn popper except John Madden, the Frank Caliendo John Madden. I think it's one of my all-time favorite skits. It's fantastic. He's like, I can't get this buttery thing to open. I can't believe it. And then his assistant came over and was like, here. He just ripped it off, and it was great stuff. All right, I'll open this up. Let's take a look here at what we have. Again, here's the cool thing. 12 cards per pack, 4 packs per box that you can check out, of course. And how about it? Definitely check it out. And look at this. A lot of good stuff here. Got it all laid out. In fact, I am going to put them right here in front of you, right here. The full packs. Got them all laid out. I cannot wait to show these to Kyle. I can't wait. Kyle has a family matter to attend to this morning. He'll be back with us in the studio for the show next week. But I'm going to see him today for Wrestlepalooza. I can't tell you. I know Pete's off the mic, but Pete knows how much I have tried. I have tried to get Kyle to buy a little bit, just a little bit to AEW, and never. It doesn't happen. Pete doesn't even watch wrestling, and he hates AEW because Kyle hates AEW. Let's take a look at these cards, though. I will give a little saving grace, though, to AEW. The last couple of weeks, and again, viewership not at a top level, but the last couple of weeks, I'm going to give them a pass. Their shows have fallen on days where there's been major breaking news. Of course, last week, of course, with Charlie Kirk, they had a show that night. And then this week, a couple other big news outside of wrestling took place again on a Wednesday. A little tough to get things into it. But they have a show. They have a loaded card. Let's take a look at these cards here. I will tell you, high-quality cards. The packaging is unbelievable. You can check this out. Give me a second there. There we go. Let's take a look. I mean, this is elite stuff here. So, a lot of cool stuff. Let's identify some of the big ones here. Oh, remember this? The trios. Got a little bit of Big Bill. We got Chris Jericho in there talking about returns. We didn't even mention Chris Jericho. He might be somebody who might be coming back pretty soon to WWE. Here's somebody who had a big year, Darby Allin. And, the cool thing, too, you got their picture here in the front, and then in the back you get a little bio, so you see their bio as well. But let's talk about Darby. It says here, back on May 22nd, 2024, Darby came to the aid of Bryan Danielson by scaring off members of the Elite with a flamethrower. Now, this is the same Darby Allin who earlier this year climbed up Mount Everest and succeeded climbing up Mount Everest. He actually planted the AEW flag, climbing up Mount Everest. And he has a big part in Wrestlepalooza coming up. Or not Wrestlepalooza, AEW All Out in Toronto coming up this afternoon. And he had an interview with Bryan Danielson. And Danielson made a promise to Darby. Do not interrupt or interfere in my match no matter what. Talking about Darby. And, of course, with Mox. Big thing. And I will say this, too. We'll see the other cards here that's available. And that's the pack of 4. But I will say this. Maybe Darby should have won the title at All In. Maybe instead of, Hangman to me is not a compelling world champion. He's doing great things. The main event match of AEW All Out today is Hangman Adam Page versus Kyle Fletcher. But I think maybe it should have been this guy. I mean, the biggest story for anybody, if anybody can climb Mount Everest, that should be the person you should make the face of your company. I mean, he was the ultimate guy that took down the Death Riders. He took them down. And I think he should have been the guy that ultimately won the title. Maybe there are other big things coming, but Darby, you get a Darby Allin card pretty much with this. How about the voice of AEW, Excalibur? Since day one, the voice of AEW, I think one of Kyle's favorite talents in AEW, Excalibur. Play-by-play man with a mask. Definitely check that out. Let's see some of the other big stars in there. How about this guy right here? How about him? How about Jack Perry? Remember him? Real Glass, Cry Me a River. And again, you have the backstory. Oh, this is interesting. After a dominant victory at Dynamite on August 17th, 2024, Jack Perry put his opponent into a body bag and unveiled his new and customized TNT Championship title. Man, Kyle's going to love this, man. I can't wait for next week's show. Oh, my goodness, he's going to love all this. Jon Moxley, arguably the face of AEW since day one. You can mention guys like Chris Jericho. You can mention Cody Rhodes. You can mention a lot of guys. Jon Moxley, there's a reason why he had the strap for 9 months. He talked about he wanted to change professional wrestling. I don't know about the Death Rider story. I was very critical of the Death Rider story. But Mox, you could trust him in the ring. Just put him out there, get things going. Now, this card here in particular, and again, you can find all these at Greenie Sports Cards. This card here in particular, it also has his height and weight. So 6'4", 231 pounds, born December 7th, 1985, out of Cincinnati, Ohio, right down the road. Oh, and by the way, about Cincinnati, yeah, don't act like, Cincinnati is good friends with people from here in Cleveland. Bengals fans want to see Browns fans suffer, so don't buy into this whole, Cincinnati likes us. Bull. But Cincinnati itself is a great city. In this particular card, this is from April 24th, 2014. Oh, this has a backstory here, and I'll tell you in a second. Jon Moxley defended the IWGP Heavyweight Championship from Powerhouse Hobbs by putting his opponent to sleep on Dynamite on April 24, 2024. Oh, my goodness. I don't know if Pete remembers this. This was the show after I went to St. Louis last year for AEW Dynasty. And I walked in. I'm like, Kyle, AEW has changed. AEW is a new company. And Kyle lit into me about that. I'm like, what are you talking about? And, oh, my goodness, it was this show. The second segment following AEW Dynasty, Jon Moxley had a IWGP championship match. It was this show. Oh, my goodness. Full circle. You got to watch Side Hustle Wrestling Podcast every week. Things come in full circle. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Got a lot of other good stuff, too. This is, again, all this is just in one pack. All this is just in one pack. So, a lot of cool stuff definitely to check out with the AEW cards. Again, 12 cards per pack, 4 packs, 1 box. A lot of cool stuff. Steve only brought over the AEW cards. Oh, man. Man, I can't wait to send this clip. This is gonna be something. All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back, Side Hustle Wrestling Podcast. By the way, follow us too, Side Hustle Wrestling Podcast, on all social platforms at Side Hustle 216 on Twitter, at Side Hustle Podcast 216, TikTok, YouTube. Follow us, and also we are a part of the brand new Inside Edge Podcast Network. We are so excited. We just launched this. Pete and I, we just launched the network just over a couple weeks ago, and already getting rave reviews, great programming, including our Inside Edge Sunday pregame show coming up tomorrow live on the Inside Edge social channels. And you can follow all of our programming at Inside Edge Net. At Inside Edge Net. That's where you can follow all of our programming, including the Sunday morning NFL pregame show. We preview the Browns. Our guys, Chad Bryant, Ryan from Voice of the Land, he's on the show as well. TK, my guy T-Bone, he's on the show. They're going to preview Browns. Can they rebound tomorrow? Man, I'm so scarred from last week's loss that I forgot who they're playing. The Packers. Oh, boy. Yeah, watch the pregame show tomorrow and see how the Browns, can they handle business against Micah Parsons and the Green Bay Packers. I just had a few people laugh at me here at the convention center after I just made that statement. But watch the pregame show tomorrow. And, of course, myself, Rob Rozicki, Eli Moon will have the main event tomorrow night. As well. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, I love these cards. I'm going to take these with me. When we come back, AJ Lee, CM Punk, Becky Lynch, Seth Rollins. They got a mixed tag match coming up, and it is perhaps the biggest story going into Wrestlepalooza here tonight. We cannot wait, and we're going to talk about it on the other side of this break. Anthony Alford here with you. Side Hustle Wrestling Podcast, live from Greenie Sports Cards Convention here in Broadview Heights. Back in just a moment. welcome back, everybody. We are live here at Greenie Sports Cards Convention. We're going to have a guest coming up here about 12:15. We'll have a guest coming up in just a little bit. But you're going to get our picks in a few minutes, actually, probably top of 12 o'clock. Kyle did submit some picks. I'm Anthony Alford, by the way. I should be introducing myself. Proper broadcasting education. Here with you. My co-host, friend Kyle Cornell, he's on out for a family matter. He'll be back on the show, I think. When I present him these AEW cards, next week might be his last show. It might be his last show. Peter Tellup, Jacob Tellup here with me as well. We have the card for Wrestlepalooza. It's 5 matches tonight. It's actually not a huge card. We thought, it was rumored, that Tiffany Stratton, I keep wanting to say Jada Parker. I don't know why she's on my mind. Actually, I have a lot of reasons why she's on my mind. But she's not involved with this. Jay Cargill, Tiffany Stratton, Nia Jax. Their Triple Threat Championship match will actually take place on SmackDown next Friday. So no prediction for that match. We'll talk about that on our show next week. But here are the scheduled matches. Show's going to open with John Cena versus Brock Lesnar. You're going to also see the Women's World Championship match, Io Sky versus Stephanie Vaquer. The Usos versus the Bronze, not named LeBron James, Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, of course, part of the Division. Big storyline we're talking about with the Usos, which we'll get into in a moment. And then the main event, Cody Rhodes versus Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship. In a match I want to spend a couple minutes talking about right now, AJ Lee and CM Punk versus Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins. And again, you want to talk, I mean, for me personally, I have not been, locked in stuff. I'm like, okay, come on now. Let's finish off with Punk and Rollins. But AJ Lee and Becky has added an extra element of this story that you just can't believe. Becky, of course, one of the best talkers in all of pro wrestling. And every single week, what she's been able to produce, been able to put things together. And don't forget to mention, of course, she's, according to Sports Illustrated, the greatest women's wrestler of all time. And that's not just her saying it. Sports Illustrated says it every single week. They say that she's the best women's wrestler of all time. But cannot wait for this match. It's going to be interesting to see AJ Lee back in action. Of course, 10 years not in action. But the mission statement was clear. CM Punk can handle his own business when it comes to guys like Drew McIntyre and John Cena and Seth Rollins. But when Becky is calling out his manhood in more ways than one, AJ had to step in. And CM Punk didn't want this. Man, it is so exciting, this feud. And what's amazing here, there's a different element of this feud. Because we saw it on Raw this past week. We saw how, it was, both of the men know the tendencies of their wives. They both know that, they know the buttons not to push. And Seth Rollins was pushing those buttons with AJ. And CM Punk was just sitting here like, no. Oh, you called her small. No. You effed up. You effed up. Every significant other knows. Every significant others, they know what happens when you screw up in that fashion. They just know. And that's the cool thing about it. That's the cool thing and what makes this match and what makes this feud unbelievably special. And the promo battles is just amazing. And it doesn't end here. I would imagine the next show, I believe Crown Jewel's the next show, you're going to see Punk and Rollins one more time, or, we think one more time, probably 50,000 more times. But you're going to see them compete for a championship. And I think on the other side, you're going to see Becky Lynch and AJ Lee compete for a championship coming up at the next show. So this is the start of it. How will AJ Lee look getting back into action? We talk about it all the time. You could be in athletic shape, but are you in football shape, or are you in wrestling shape in terms of, wrestling ability? Can you get back up to speed, and how quickly can you go? So it's going to be very interesting to see how things go. My one little critique, though, Becky's last match was against Nikki Bella. That match did not turn out well as far as an in-ring product. So in a mixed tag situation, when Becky and AJ are going at it, can Becky effectively carry this match with AJ Lee? Can they book it in such a way where it doesn't expose AJ Lee in a tag team setting? This is not a singles match setting, but in a tag team match setting, can AJ Lee look good? Becky will look good. Can AJ Lee look good after being out of action for 10 years? Because that is the thing. While there are Hall of Famers from 10 or 15 years ago in the women's wrestling, even Nikki Bella acknowledged that it's a different look. It's a different speed in terms of wrestling and things of that sort. So we'll definitely kind of see how that match turns out. A couple other observations about some of the other matches. Io Sky, Stephanie Vaquer, of course. My personal highlight of the week was Booker T's highlight of the week. The dual Devil's Kiss with Rhea Ripley and Stephanie Vaquer. They both pointed at Booker T at NXT. But we're going to finally see this match. We're going to see, of course, how will Asuka play into things, and how long can Io Sky play things? She's trying to do the right thing. She's trying. She really is. But how much influence will Asuka really have in this match? Will we see Io fully embrace the dark side? Because you got two baby faces, and both individual stars are huge, but the story of this match is what Asuka's going to do. That's really the story. We're going to kind of have to see how that goes. But a match people are looking forward to seeing, of course. And the Usos and the Bronze. Of course, the big story coming into this match is Jey Uso. How much power and influence, it's obvious he is being positioned as the next tribal chief. Who was he talking to on the phone? Who was he communicating with on the phone? That's interesting to see. Jimmy Uso, after initially declining the offer of LA Knight to be a tag team partner. Jey Uso coming in, directing orders to Jimmy. And Jimmy's like, we're twins. Who are you to direct orders to? And, that's the major thing. So, match quality-wise, this is going to be big time. But in terms of story to come out of this, there is, of course, the LA Knight factor. There's a huge LA Knight factor in terms of, how is he going to play into this? Because he doesn't really care about what happens with WrestlePalooza, but LA Knight feels he has to get his. Hold up for a second, guys. He feels like he has to get his, and that's huge from that standpoint. So we're going to have to see. This is a long-term story. For a while, we've been talking about what the Bloodline story. Oh, we're in the third. I think we did this convention last year, and we were told we were in the third inning. So I think we're in the fourth inning of this. Hopefully, bottom of the fourth. I would say this is the Jim Rosenhaus innings. that we're in right now. Um, but you're going to see a little bit of a turn here with Jey Uso, his attitude, and we're going to see if who's going to win this match. We'll have predictions coming up in just a bit. And, of course, we already talked to lead the show off about Cody and Drew McIntyre. We got that coming up. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we got picks. We got Wrestlepalooza picks. Of course, we want to come down, Greenie Sports Cards convention here with you until 3. Of course, Steve doing an unbelievable job putting all this together. And, of course, you can always check out the Greenie Sports Cards on socials. That's how you can get it going. In fact, very easy to follow at Greenie Sports Cards. That's Greenie, Greenie IE Sports Cards. Got that going on right here. In fact, you see the spelling right behind you. So all you got to do is type this. I thought I could be a meteorologist one day, but I can't point out maps anymore. That's behind me. But there it is, Greenie Sports Cards. Follow them on Instagram. In fact, they're loaded with content even right now. So we're here with you, Broadview Heights. Here with you for a couple more segments, and this show continues until 3 o'clock. Bring your family, kids, everyone. Bring them on down. Here in Broadview Heights, Eats Mill Road here in Broadview Heights, just off of Rollins Road. So definitely check that out. All right, second hour. We got picks. Kyle did send in picks, so you'll hear both of our picks, and we're going to have a special guest to talk a little bit about what's going on here at the Greenie Sports Cards Convention. I believe he's also a wrestling fan, so we'll have him over here in just a bit. Anthony Alford here with you. We are live here on Side Hustle Wrestling Podcast. Hour number 2 coming up in just a bit. Welcome back, everybody. Hour number 2, Side Hustle Wrestling Podcast. Anthony Alford, Kyle Cordell is on assignment. He'll be back with us next week. We're going to have I believe we may have a guest coming up in just a little bit. But you are joining us live from Greenie Sports Cards. Again, you can follow the convention at Greenie Sports Cards on all their socials, including Instagram, where you can see all these great events, all these great vendors. They are here. Past, present, future, all these cards, all, Steve, who runs all this, brought over all the AEW cards, but there's a ton of baseball cards that are here. I can't tell you how many stories I've heard in the past of, oh man, I had the old baseball cards with the bubble gum, like you shouldn't be saving bubble gum from 40, 50 years ago. That's kind of nasty. But I remember all those stories. They were unbelievable. But all those cards, got Pokemon cards. Always said I dominated Pokemon at recess back in the day. Not really, but in my mind I did. But you got that coming up here. We got signed helmets, signed baseballs. Just so many things to promote. So many things to see here at Greenie Sports Cards Convention here in Broadview Heights coming up. So you got to come down here. Again, here live, the convention until 3 o'clock here on a Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon. Bring your kids, bring your friends, bring your family. Bring them all here at Greenie Sports Cards. So much action going on behind these cameras here, so definitely check it out. Man, a lot of cool stuff. I find myself, because there's so many cool things, I'm doing this broadcast. We'll have predictions coming up in just a few minutes. I find myself kind of drifting and looking and seeing like, oh, my goodness, I want to get that card. I want to get that. I want to get that. Maybe I want to get that helmet that's locked in the plastic and stuff. I want to get that signed jersey. I want that Pikachu that's at the table that's right next to us. I like that. There's so many things. I'm just looking. I mean, I don't care that I'm a young adult. I'm a kid when I'm here. Okay, this is amazing. This is cool stuff that's here. Our friends, Voice of the Land, they were here a little bit ago. Hello, Kevin. They were all here before checking things out. This is such an amazing show every single year, every single show. Greenie Sports Cards, definitely check it out. Now, if you're a wrestling fan, the day's going to start for you watching this, and then at 3 o'clock, AEW All Out. They're on pay-per-view. It's a Tony Khan card, so there's about 3,000 matches on the card. We hope you enjoy them. Again, like I said before, I don't know what it is on the AEW side of things. Hangman's just not intriguing to me. Kyle Fletcher doesn't really do it for me. Don Callis is great. There's a reason why Don Callis is officiating. He's the manager for everybody, it seems like. But again, if All Out was on a regular, if they were on HBO Max, at a normal price, not $40 on top of the pay-per-view cost, I would sit back and watch it. But and here's the thing: we need AEW to be good because WWE is jacking up the ticket prices and stuff. So AEW wants to cater to families. The only issue with catering to families is that at that point you can't have the wrestlers and stuff making remarks that I can't repeat here, and expect parents to be okay with it for their kids to hear that. So that's tough. Like that's they curse for no reason. They do things for no reason. Like again, things that are not PG appropriate. You can't cater to families if you're doing. That's like ECW back in the day saying, hey, we cater to kids after having a burning table match on triple stacks of cages. You can't do that. That's not to say that they're not great shows. They are great shows. But there are certain things you have to do to appeal to kids. and and that's not it. But that's just that's parents making that choice. Now, again, if kids are making that choice, they don't mind any of this stuff. They don't mind any of that at all. I didn't mind when I was a kid, watching Stone Cold put up the middle finger up multiple times. Didn't mind that at all. But that's just me. That was me. I was 8 years old. I didn't care. But, you got parents and stuff making that decision. All right, here he is. Let's just come right on in. Let me get you a headset. The man himself. Something like that.
All right.
There you go.
We're here.
We are here. In fact, because this is live internet, Steve, we're just bringing you right on.
It's the power of live TV or
yes.
Social media.
Social media. How about this? This is Steve, of course, running all this Greenie Sports Cards.
Yep.
And man, the stuff that you do every single event, this is incredible.
Thank you. Yeah, a lot goes into it. It's weeks that we prepare, we get the vendors, we send out email blasts to customers. Adam does a terrific job getting this floor plan laid out, and here we are. And I don't know how many people we'll check, but there's been a lot of people through the door today.
Talk about the first thing that stands out with these events. This is my second time, and it's like the amount of kids.
It's amazing.
That are here, that are just circling by. So many kids, so many smiles on those kids' faces.
It is. It's amazing. And the card companies do a great job getting the kids involved. Fanatics, Panini, Leaf, all their social media and their different commercials. And you get athletes that open up boxes of cards, and kids look up to that, and they come to these shows, and they're trading, they have their cases of cards, so it's terrific. And every once in a while, we do the giveaways, and they get to open packs, and I mean, it's pretty cool when they get these big hits.
I will tell you, Steve, Pete laughed at me because I was opening these, and it's like, dude, he's like, so I had to kind of talk through it a little bit, man. But the quality of cards throughout everything, and not just the wrestling stuff, but
that's right.
I see the Pokemon cards, the sports cards, just the quality of product here, and the card is just amazing.
It is, and not so much just the quality of the cards, but the value of the cards. I mean, there's cards in this room that are $10,000, $20,000 per card.
Wow.
Yeah, there's some real expensive things. I mean, there's Jordan cards here, LeBron, there's Mickey Mantles here. Otani, Aaron Judge, of course, and then the big prospects, right? Everybody wants the next big thing. And who is the next big thing, right? Is it a quarterback, right? Jaden Daniels. Is it a rookie, Cam Ward? Mm-hmm. Could it be Shador, right?
Yeah.
Who knows?
We only hope, right?
Yeah, we can only hope. But, yeah, prospecting, things like that, that's a big deal.
I mean, I always remember, of course, thinking about those stories about the prospect. It's like, can I discover somebody before everybody else does?
Sure.
And it's like, that's the inside track of coming here. It's like, you know what? I'm going to find something that maybe nobody else has discovered yet, Steve, and I'll be the first one on it because I was here at Greenie Sports Cards.
Could be. And listen, there's people that do that. They will pick a player that, nobody's heard of. Let's Aaron Judge, for example, was sent down to the minors as a rookie.
That's right.
I sold autographs of him for $10.
Wow.
And now he's the however many time MVP, probably going to be the MVP again. But if you were the one that was buying those at $10 and putting them aside in a box, you'd be the winner.
And think about it, too, like you're a Yankees fan,
right.
Just like, okay, maybe this is the guy. And it's just like $10 turns into what, right?
Sky's the limit. When you get a generational player like that, who, when his career is over, he's going to be in the top in a lot of statistical categories, right? And who knew? Mm-hmm. Right?
Just crazy. Let's talk about some of the other vendors
sure.
That are here. We'd be here all day if you want to break down each and every single vendor
sure.
That's here. But a ton of highlights, of course, it's right in front of us. Sports Big Ohio Cards
Big
is
Dave.
here. Love the logo, by the way. Pete and I both love the logo.
So Big Dave, you'll see him at Browns games with his shirt off and his dog mask on, right? He is a super fan. Mm-hmm. Great cards, absolutely. There's a lot of Pokemon too.
I see. Yes.
You know, we have in some of our sponsors, Possum Finds, Mellow Fellow Merch, and they have great names, right?
Yes.
You know, Outlaw Collectibles. These are all names of Pokemon vendors, and then, you know, it's predominantly sports here this week. You know, Dan, who's right here in front of you, I mean, he specializes in all Cleveland stuff. Coach Jack. We actually have Coach Rob Senderoff, the men's basketball coach at Kent State.
Nice.
Set up.
Nice.
Selling cards this week. So it's really neat.
Man, this is so fantastic. In the past, the present. I saw some Hulk Hogan cards in the back there as well.
Sure.
Saw a lot of those. Let's talk a little bit here, Steve, about I see some signed helmets. I see some signed jerseys. I was just mentioning on air to our fans before you came on, I'm like, I feel like I'm not being a broadcast professional because I'm doing the show, but sometimes every once in a while I kind of drift. I'm like, oh my goodness, they have that there, they have this there, and I'm looking at the helmets and the signed merchandise here. I'm like, I can't believe it. Like, talk a little bit about those.
Yeah, I mean, there's over here at John, and then we'll give a shout out to Hall of Framers. They have a store in Berea, and if you need anything framed, they are the top of the line in Berea. There's Jose Ramirez signed jerseys over there. There's Myles Garrett. You know, there's a huge picture of LeBron James made out of golf tees. You're kidding? No, it's terrific. It's over there at Hall of Framers table. So, you know, and then there's baseball signed. You know, there's the old Indians, Rocky Colavito, right? There's a Jim Brown autograph, and I mean, so much of that in Cleveland, that type of memorabilia is here.
Steve, talk to us about how this all started. You know, this is just amazing how you've put all this together. Your team has put all this together. But where did this love, where did this passion for all this, where did it all come from? Where did it start?
Yeah, you know, like a lot of kids, you know, growing up, we'd open packs of cards. I'd open packs of cards with my dad, right? And, you know, we'd mark the checklist, which you can never do that anymore. But, you know, in the 80s, you know, you check off and you build your sets. And, you know, we collected those cards, right? Whether it was baseball or football. Not a lot of basketball, which in retrospect I should have, because Michael Jordan's rookie card is 1986.
Oh, yeah.
Here nor there. But, you know, you went away to college and kind of forgot about it, and, you know, get home, I get a job, and I'm like, you know, rekindled. I started buying rookies from the 80s. I'm like, man, you know, the Darryl Strawberries, Don Mattingly's, guys we grew up watching, and then I started selling some cards, and next thing I knew, I made a car payment from selling cards.
Wow.
And I'm like, Yeah, and I still had a job, but after so many years, and I'm selling these cards, and I was setting up as a vendor at shows, right? And I'm making some money, and I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to go all in, and didn't have a job anymore, and just started buying and selling and buying and selling. And I'm like, maybe I should start doing a show. And I think the first show that I actually, you know, promoted and put together in the early 2000s, and then, you know, it kind of progressed, and we were doing shows at a senior center, and I was doing shows on Tuesday nights, and, you know, we kind of fell into this groove here of some different locations, and even, you know, the bigger show in Independence, which we started 3 years ago with my partner Jeremy Levine, and, you know, we've grown it to this to where now in 2026, as of today, we have 29 shows scheduled that we're going to produce, whether they're here in Cleveland or we do Charleston, West Virginia, down in their convention center. So it's a great community thing. We love it. People come in. And it's even amazing when they come in, they love to say hi and talk. And a lot of people thank us for doing these shows. So, I mean, it's got the monetary reasons, but it also has a lot of other reasons and values to it as well.
And that's one of the top things that stood out was just like, people are, again, just the smiles. People are saying hello to everybody in those things. I remember when I worked at WTA, I used to work with Greg Brenda.
Sure.
And he always talked about those those baseball cards from like the 60s, and they had the bubble gum, on the cards and stuff. And it's like people saved the bubble gum. I'm like, well, first off, that's nasty. Please don't eat those.
Yeah.
But even him, he's talking about the baseball cards from the past, and how people used to play with those. And
Sure.
even for me growing up, 90s, 2000s, like Pokemon cards.
Yep.
I mean,
Huge.
I would hate to tell people, hey, you should be outside during recess playing, because there were some recess periods where we were dominating playing Pokemon battles, so
That's
Pokemon
right.
and Yu-Gi-Oh. It's
Yep.
crazy.
It is, and even now, I mean, that stuff has made a strong comeback. I think Pokemon's in its 30th anniversary. I think
I believe
just
so,
happened
yeah.
right now, but the tournaments are huge, and maybe one day we'll kind of schedule a show around a tournament.
I think that would be huge. I think
Yeah.
it would be a big. I would have to refamiliarize myself. It's been
Sure.
a minute, but the classics and everything like that. It's just fantastic. Steve, you do a phenomenal job.
Appreciate
How
that.
can people reach out? I mean, first off, you got this event.
Yep.
You guys are going till 3:00 this afternoon?
Today.
Today. How can people follow Greenie Sports Cards?
It's that simple. It's at Greenie Sports Cards on all social media handles: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, X, whatever it is now. The website, GreenieSportsCards.com. We put our phone number out there anywhere. They can call, text, but any social media handle. I mean, we respond as quickly as we can. We're always happy to have new vendors. We're happy to put people on our email lists and blast out when we're doing these shows. And I mean, it's real easy.
Pete introduced me and our team to Greenie Sports Cards, and ever since I'm just looking, I'm like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
All of this is amazing. This is unbelievable. We're going to do a little tour here after the show. This is incredible, and you and your team do
appreciate
an
it.
unbelievable job. Steve, thanks again for coming on.
Absolutely.
I know you got to
Love
get
the
back to work.
podcast. Yep. Listen, we appreciate it. We appreciate it with Pete. I don't know if Pete told you, we've known each other since we were probably yay high in, fourth grade maybe. Probably first grade, actually. But fourth grade, yeah, right, yeah. So
He's still yay.
yeah, right,
yay
I get
high.
it. But no, very good. I appreciate it. The podcast is awesome. We appreciate, supporting it as well. So
We cannot wait. Hey,
Cool.
Let's take a quick break. We got predictions coming up. But yeah, definitely check out Greenie Sports Cards, all the excitement, everything going on. Steve's here. I'm AA Anthony Alford. We'll take a break. Back in just a moment. Welcome back, Side Hustle Wrestling Podcast, final segment live from Greenie Sports Cards here in Broadview Heights. But just because the show is about to end, our show, the Sports Cards Convention still continues here until 3 o'clock. Well, again, thanks Steve for coming on the show. He runs all of this, and the love for sports cards, the love for trading cards, not just sports cards, but you got Pokemon cards, you got the wrestling cards. Again, we're showing off, they fell here, but we're showing off these AEW cards, which I cannot wait to hand these over to Kyle Cornell when I see him tonight. I cannot wait, man. But we're going to talk about these next week on our show. But glad to have you with us. Anthony Alford here with you. Kyle's on assignment. He'll be back with us next week. But he did submit picks for Wrestlepalooza. I have picks as well, so let's get started. This is a 5-match card, so not a lot of matches to go through. But let's get started. Kyle has John Cena defeating Brock Lesnar. I do as well. I think if you remember this match from their first match back in 2012, when Brock Lesnar came back, their first match back in 2012, it was a massacre. Brock Lesnar, probably one of the most brutal WWE matches I've ever seen. Just absolute annihilation. Now, I said back then, Brock Lesnar should have won that match. He should have won that match back then. Cena somehow, that was the peak of Super Cena. He was booked to overcome things and win that match, and he did. But this is different. This is the Cena farewell tour here. I think there's a bigger story in play with Brock Lesnar, which we'll get to. Actually, we talked a little bit about it earlier in the show, but I think there's a bigger play in hand with Brock Lesnar. But for this, the retirement tour, it's the opening match. I think fans want to see Cena somehow overcome Brock Lesnar. Cena right now is the most over babyface in the company because of the story. So I agree with Kyle. I think John Cena will defeat Brock Lesnar tonight in the opener. Now, Kyle has Cody Rhodes defeating Drew McIntyre. Again, I do as well. But, man, wouldn't it be a surprise if Drew actually won this match? Kind of shake things up a little bit. I know, Triple H loves long title runs and things like that. But wouldn't it be interesting? But you got to remember, hard to believe, by the way, Cody Rhodes just won the title. It seemed like Cody has held that title for like 2 years. But, yeah, it was that. It's those 4 months that John Cena held it, and Cody just got it back. So it will probably be Cody Rhodes retaining. But, as I mentioned earlier in the show, I think the bigger story is going to happen after the match if Cody and Drew are main eventing the show. I think they are. The bigger story is going to be Cody defeats Drew, Brock Lesnar comes out, Brock Lesnar lays out Cody Rhodes, and it's Paul Heyman standing next to Brock Lesnar. Based off the conversation that happened last night. That's going to be the big feud of the fall, Cody and Brock. Of course, the next show is in Perth. I think it's Crown Jewel. So it's going to be another international show where they want big names. Brock Lesnar is that big name. And I think that will be the next feud after this match. So we both have Cody defeating Drew, but I think after that match, it will be Brock Lesnar laying out Cody Rhodes. This, of course, is after Brock Lesnar loses to John Cena earlier in the night. Kyle has CM Punk and AJ Lee defeating Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch. We are both 3 for 3. On that front, I think that's an ideal match. And you need AJ Lee somehow to look strong. Listen, Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch, they lose nothing. If they lose, they could talk themselves out of a loss. next week. And I think you need Punk and AJ to win because I think you're going to get their singles matches for championships in October. Does no good for Punk and AJ Lee to lose. And plus, it's AJ Lee coming back. So it just wouldn't make sense if it was a loss. So I have that. This is the first pick where I think we're going to disagree. Kyle has Stephanie Vaquer defeating Io Sky. I actually have Io Sky winning this match, but I wouldn't be upset if Stephanie lost. I think Asuka. I think this will be a case where Stephanie is in position to win. Asuka's going to cheat for Io, but Io won't know. And Io will win clean, but Asuka's going to be the reason why she won, but Io doesn't know. And it's going to be a power struggle with Asuka and Io Sky. Io wants to win the right way. Asuka says, screw all that. And everyone's going to question Io. So I think there's a bigger story in hand with that. I would not be upset if Stephanie won. In fact, hey, Stephanie's one of the biggest stars in the entire company this year. So putting the championship on her would be huge. It would be huge. So I think that match could go either way. Kyle has Stephanie. I have Io winning that match. And then finally, I think we both agree. I think we both agree on this one. Kyle and I both have the Bronze defeating the Usos. And I think this will set up a little bit of the power struggle. Of course, Jimmy Uso's going to take the pin. But I think it sets up the power struggle. LA Knight, he's a big factor. What will happen with Jay if the Usos lose? There's a lot of questions coming out of this match. But this is an opportunity where, the Bronze, hey, show out right now. It's, right now, Seth and Becky, they're doing their own thing. You want to keep the Bronze looking strong. Paul Heyman will be on theirs. And you're going to hear a lot of Paul Heyman. In fact, our top headline, I think, coming out of this show is going to be what's next for Paul Heyman. Can he still have a working relationship with Brock Lesnar while also working with Division? I think that's something we have to watch and keep track of. All right. That's our picks for WrestlePalooza. You can watch, if you find a way, on the ESPN app coming up tonight. And, of course, the day starts with AEW All Out. I want to thank Pete. I want to thank Jacob as we close out this show. I want to thank Steve for coming on the show. This is an unbelievable event. Again, follow Greenie Sports Cards. In fact, this is their logo. And if you just type this out, Greenie Sports Cards, on all social media platforms, you will find them. Follow them. They do a ton of shows, like Steve just mentioned. Steve, they do a weekly show as well. So you want to definitely check out everything that's going on. Again, here in Broadview Heights, I'll give you the address one more time before we wrap the show up. It's here in Broadview Heights, East Mill Road. That's 5025 East Mill Road in Broadview Heights, zip code 44147. When you pull up, come all the way to the back, and it's the last building. Come right on in, say hello, and everyone is so welcoming too. So I'm going to do like a little walk around here off air for these guys, but it's going to be exciting stuff. So, all right, that's it for our show. For Kyle, who's going to be back with us next week, Double A Anthony Alford signing off here on the Side Hustle Wrestling Podcast. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you again in studio this upcoming Friday. Have a great one, everybody.